Hey everyone, this is Lisa from TRW, and in this video I'm going to give you a practical and fun way to use guides in Silhouette Studio. Now, rulers and guides are available in the Designer Edition upgrade of the software. If you don't have it already, I highly suggest it. There are so many things in it that are totally worth it. So as a special bonus, not only am I going to show you the guides, but I'm also going to incorporate the warp panel and a way that I use the guides practically in my designing. So if you want to know how to use the guides and how the warp panel works, just go ahead and keep on watching. Alright, so I am in Silhouette Studio. Now here's my basic logo. I'm going to jump over here and I've typed out the word pantry. I'm going to make this as a little pantry label for my pantry, and so I'm not going to go super in depth in the warp panel. I do have a video on the warp panel. I have it in the description. I'll put it up here for you as well. That way you can kind of check it out and be more familiar with it. One thing about the warp panel, if you know how to point at it and you know how to manipulate the lines, it'll be no problem. So we have this over here. The font I'm using is called Realist. It was a font that I bought a while back. Now I'm going to go over to the right side of my screen, click this arrow at the bottom, and I want to open up some additional options, and here's my warp panel right here. Depending on how big your screen is, you may have that arrow, you may not. For me personally, I increase my button size so you guys can see it in my videos, so just look for that icon. Alright, so we have this set right here, and we're going to warp selected shapes. So what we're working with here is we have these main points here that move our design. Okay, I'm just hitting Control Z. We have these red handles that kind of move our design around. And then you also have these blue ones in here that will move it starting from the middle as opposed to the top. So if you can see, this one controls the top line, this blue one controls this middle line, and so on and so forth. So these dots, the lines that they are on to begin with, are the lines that get distorted when you move them. So what I want to do is I want this to kind of like curve on the top. So what I want to do is I want to bring these up, okay? So I want these to come up because I want my text to kind of dip down. But the issue that I'm running into is how do I make these match, okay? So that is where guides come into play. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click in the ruler. So I have my rulers turned on. So I have a ruler up here. I'm going to bring this and drag it down. Okay, so now I have this guideline. It stays there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't move. So we're going to take our design and I'm going to go over and I'm going to drag this up, and I want my text, my letter, to touch the guideline. So let's bring that down. So we have that all set, and now we're going to do that for the second part. Now, you may notice it doesn't look any different, right? So this is something that we need to change around in the warp panel. So what we have is we have one big column. So if we bring up both sides, the middle comes up with it. What we need to have a divider in the middle to have two columns. So when we bring the two sides up, this line stays in there. So let's go over to columns. Let's click this little arrow, change it to 2. So it resets, but so we're going to go over and I'm going to zoom in and we're going to redo this process right here. So now we can take this, bring this up, so now that we know our text is going to be right on that line. And then we have this right here as well. So we have that all set. Now it's really just a matter of editing. You can see that this move is not super fluid, so I can use my handles, move that, move that. And really knowing how to use the warp panel is just really a matter of practice. Manipulating the lines is not something you're going to get right away. You will have to practice, but it does make a lot more sense when you can see how this grid changes. So if you see as I move these dots around, you'll see that this grid is not straight across. You can see it moves a little bit. So this is one reason why I like using the warp panel, is because I can kind of visualize the changes that I'm making in this as well. So you can bring that down, and then we're all set to go. So there's more in the warp panel. Definitely check out the description. You can see what I'm doing here. But we can see that I used my guidelines to make sure I matched up the top of my text or design so that we can have a nice, even, perfect design. And now I'm done with my warp. I'm just going to release it. And you can see now we have it all set there. And sometimes you'll get this if your font is colored in. It'll have your text and your outline separated. So I'm going to go over to my select by color, choose by fill. I'm going to choose my black, drag it down, And so now I have 2. You can choose which one you want to use. I'm just going to group that together and then delete that. And now I can select my text. And there we go. So a practical solution or practical way to use the guides in Silhouette Studio. I did use the warp panel as well. So if you are still unfamiliar with warp or you wanted to see it more practically in action, hopefully this helped you with it. So if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you like our channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more videos. And let us know in the comments below, what do you think and what do you want to learn in more videos?